What's going on, everybody? What is going on? It is Friday, May 23rd, 2025, and we are back with another live here on the Touring Your Brain Reloaded channel. If you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button, hit the share button, hit the subscribe button. If you're new to the channel, make sure to hit the bell twice to be notified whenever I upload a new video or go live, or simply join the Discord just in case the notifications don't come to you. If you join the Discord, the notifications will for sure come through there. I hope everybody is having a good day so far, or had a good week rather. Shout out to everyone in the chat, especially the mods. Shout out to all the members, everybody on Patreon, and for whatever reason y'all can't catch the live in real time, shout out to the replay gang. So as you can see by the title, I'm finally going to be talking about Donald Trump allowing these quote unquote white South Africans into the establishment. And also we're going to be going over the meeting that he had with the South African president yesterday. But we're only going to cover about maybe like 20 minutes of it, like the part that people have been talking about, because the meeting itself is like over an hour long. But we're only going to go over like the 20-minute, the part that everyone keeps talking about. But before we get into all of that, let me shout out the people who are here so far. We got Firebat, Queen Imani, Isaac George, Hurricane Nisi, Hacksign KT, Dark Titan, Firebat RDRD, Sybil Inspired Truth Broadcast, Nelix Sulu, Rokumuro, Jerry Bedford, Dewani, Barbara, Eddie Foster, Savion Denzimas, Bougie Barbie, Lamiko, D Money, and that is it so far. And shout out to everyone else or whoever else is going to be coming into the chat that I didn't get a chance to acknowledge. So the first thing I'm going to start off with is playing a video of where this really kicked off everything for me, with Trump allowing these 59 particular South Africans to come into the establishment. But first off, let me read what the tweet says from The Blaze. It said, President Trump on giving refugee status to South Africans. And let me be clear, it's white South Africans. He didn't do it for every South African. He said it's a genocide, white farmers being brutally killed in their land and is being confiscated, and the media doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, that would be the only story they talk about. So that's just paraphrasing what he said. So let's go ahead and listen to the full clip.
And we don't want to see people be killed. Now, South Africa leadership is coming to see me, I understand, sometime next week. And, we're supposed to have I guess a G20 meeting there or something, but we're having a G20 meeting. I don't know how we can go unless that situation's taken care of, but it's a genocide that's taking place that you people don't want to write about, but it's a terrible thing that's taking place. And farmers are being killed. They happen to be white, but whether they're white or black makes no difference to me, but white.
Let me pause it right there. Peep what he just did right there in that moment when he said, and they're white. And then he comes back like 2.5 seconds later and says, whether white or black. So what I always tell people is whatever they lead with, that's what they want to emphasize the most. That's the part that they want to hang on to, is that white South African farmers are quote unquote being genocided down there in South Africa, even though reports have come from there where they're saying we're here now and there's no genocide happening, whether it's the black South Africans there or the white people that are there. And let me also say something else. You don't see the rich white quote unquote South Africans fleeing from there. So clearly there's not an issue. We already know what this is all about. When I first saw this happening, I said, you have got to be kidding me. So literally, when I saw this, I said, so much for making for America first. And you'll see what I mean when we go over some of the posts that a lot of these Dub S's were writing and how they responded to this on there, because it's amazing how they are now all for immigration when it's people that look like them. You'll see what I mean. We're going to go over some of those tweets after this video.
White farmers are being brutally killed, and their land is being confiscated in South Africa. And the newspapers and the media, television media, doesn't even talk about it. If it were the other way around, they talk about it.
And what I found also interesting is that we live in an establishment where us as Black Americans or FBA have been talking about white supremacy going on here for so long, but they'll tell us to stop making everything about race and to get over it, and white supremacy doesn't exist. Yet they found a way to talk about quote unquote anti-whiteism happening across the pond, allegedly. So you can't see it here, but you can see it all the way over there. And most of the people that claim they see it over there never even been there. Some of them probably couldn't even point out, don't even know what the capital of South Africa is. But tell them that they're being genocided over there. Let's let them on in.
That would be the only story they talk about. And I don't care who they are. I don't care about their race, their color. I don't care.
Oh, y'all, you cannot make this up. The contradiction. Are you serious? Did he just say, I don't care what race or color you are, but literally less than a minute ago, you mentioned white and then said white and Black, and then the people you let in were white. Are you? That's why in the description of this live, if you go look at the description of the live, just look at the live. I only put a couple of a short statement. This is your president. I didn't have to put a full description.
Care about their height, their weight. I don't care about anything. I just know that what's happening is terrible. I have people that live in South Africa. They say it's a terrible situation.
Who are they? That's what I'd like to know. If you're going to say that they're saying that, we need to know names. Because if you're going to put something like that out there and you're going to make up this narrative about about a whole nation, we need to know names.
In place. So we've essentially extended citizenship to those people and to escape from that violence and come here. Yeah.
Okay, so that's the end of that, and then that's when they start going into the questions. Y'all, the way he just sat up there and lied like that, like it was nothing. And then you have his constituents or his base or his supporters eat it up like he told the honest to God truth. Let's move now to these comments. And what better way to start it off with than Matt Walsh? Because you know Matt Walsh has managed to make himself the poster child for anything and everything anti-Black these days. He ain't the only one, but he's one of the main ones. So let's see what Matt Walsh had to say. Let's zoom in on a little bit. Matt Walsh said, the Great Replacement is real. So now they're going back on that. Now they're going back on that thing. He said, if you had any doubt, this story about the South African refugees should clear it up for you. The left wants unchecked third world migration because they want to make America less white. And ladies and gentlemen, that's what it all is for them. They only want them over here because they want to make America white again. Remember when, well, I don't want to say again, because I mean, it wasn't necessarily was. Is a majority? Yes, but only no. Remember when I was telling y'all a few years ago, back during Trump's first term, when they was out there stumping for him and they were asking him a lot of his white base, what does make America great again mean to you? I believe the reporters knew what they meant, but they wanted to see what the response was going to be. And every last one of them, for the most part, all collectively said they don't know, or they just didn't give a response. The thing about it is, whether they didn't give a response or they said they don't know, the truth is they do know. This right here is what they want. They claim to be against immigration, of all types of immigration, but when it comes to letting white people in who are immigrants, they're fine with that. They tell on themselves every single time. Let them talk long enough and they will spill their guts. It goes on to say that's it. It's that simple. That's why they oppose the white refugees, because white refugees defeat the whole purpose of the program. So let's see what some of the people are saying under his tweet. He said, one person says, Afrikaners have Dutch and German roots, and it's funny how their own origin countries will literally take anyone except Afrikaners. Well, there's probably a reason why they won't take them. That should be a hint as to why we shouldn't take them either. Someone else says, my Costco in the suburbs looks like a United Nations conference. It has to stop. Basically, they're saying it's too many quote unquote minorities. Someone else says, no one quote unquote opposes the refugees, you effing dip-ish. They said they oppose the ideas that you guys are only letting white people in. And that's pretty much what it boils down to. It says, someone else says, thank you, Matt, for speaking out on this. Another person says, the left says millions of illegals from the third world must enter the U.S. every year, but become apoplectic? I don't know what that word is. When 60 white South African refugees find their way to America, it's not rocket science. They just hate white people. And notice that they're not calling them immigrants either. They're calling them refugees because then that gives them a reason to say, oh, if we call them refugees, then that means we can let them in. Because if we just called them immigrants, then that will make us look like hypocrites. Excuse me, but you look like a hypocrite regardless. Someone says, Matt, you built an entire ideology on the fear of sitting next to a black family at Applebee's. Another person, oh God, it's the Cartier family. KG, where are you? These morons said, I'd rather live in America with white Americans than a bunch of third world people who don't speak the language or share our values. Mind you, the people who are part of the Cartier family are like 4 or 5 black men. Let's see, what else are they talking about here? Someone says, so who's behind the scheme to replace white people in the West? Who has that kind of hatred and power? Quote unquote fellow whites. So there are some people in here that are opposing what Matt says, because a lot of times, or all the time for the most part, Matt Walsh always is putting his foot in his mouth. Bougie Bar said, I assume he was spelling apocalyptic. Maybe, I don't know, like possibly. Mikey said, are you sure it's not because they think it's hypocritical to turn down brown refugees to then approve white refugees? You don't think that could be the reason? And I'm going to read one more. Someone says, no one should doubt that our country is intentionally being invaded. Look how hard the activist judges are working to keep the illegals here. So that was Matt Walsh's post. Now we're going to move on to this person who meant, I don't see, this is what I mean when I tell you Elon messed up the algorithm and these people be popping up on my timeline because I don't be following these people, but this post popped up on my page from this individual by the name of Salty Girl. Their bio says Constitutionalist 1776, America First. Now, she needs to take America First out of her bio, considering how she's stomping or glad that they're being bought, people who are non-American allowed to be coming over here. She says political junkie, happily married, heritage American, not monetized. So she says, I'm really looking forward to the Boers coming to America. We're finally welcoming immigrants who will contribute positively to America rather than having a negative impact. To Salty Girl, I'd like to know from you, what do you mean when you say that? And she put up a picture right here of, I guess this is supposed to be white South Africans. And under it, with the South African flag in the background, says, welcome to America, Boers. Let's see what she says. Well, the people are saying under her post. They said, we should train an elite group of them and send them to Somalia, I mean Minnesota. Train them to do what exactly? They said, excellent idea. I do really hope a lot of them migrate to the Midwest. Well, we'll see about that. Another person says, they just said, thank you. One other person says, I still believe that we should send them military support and retake the whole South Africa for white race. Now that we are not going to fight wars for them folks, we should do it for our people. Makes sense? Another person says, my great-great-grandfather's brother settled in South Africa after the Boer War that they fought in. Today, I have hundreds of cousins over there that have been absolutely devastated by the BS. I hope they move here. Life will be better for all of us. That's what they think. See, the American PC individual is getting so excited about this. They have no idea what's about to happen if they start letting them over here in droves. Someone else says the blacks will lament the Afrikaners' exodus when they begin to starve like they did in Zimbabwe under Mugabe. Someone else said whites are welcome. Another person says I met a boy last year who bought my piano for me, was a great guy, just got here a year before, welcomed him, gave him a great reduced price on the piano. Someone says I welcome them with open arms. 2, we will make them feel at home and they are a member of the extended family. Someone else says, unlike the other Africans that come here and take advantage of all we offer and succeed, then turn around and call us vile names and say we are racist, that's just disgusting. We should remove all of them. Someone else said, I sure hope some of them come to lower Louisiana. I can understand what they wouldn't, that they would. I can understand why they wouldn't want to, leaving one ish hole for another. Someone says, now take the land back from China, give them land to work. Someone else said, you're getting the broke economic migrant boys that failed to make it in South Africa despite all the privilege. And that's the thing right there. Like I heard that the rich ones over there, they're not leaving. They are not leaving. Someone says, and they bring their women and children who will also contribute to American society instead of importing fighting age men from God knows where. Another person says, we need another 40 million of you, so on and so forth. So that's one post. Now, here's another post that she made. She said, how many white South Africaners are we expecting to arrive in the United States? I hope it's millions. Hence why on the thumbnail I said, meet your new replacements. Okay, y'all better be careful what you ask for. Someone replied with, we are only 4.5 million white people in South Africa. The number wanting to leave is already rising daily. Many are applying quietly and out of the eye of the media, so there are not a lot of info on them. I also applied and I'm waiting for my interview at the embassy. Someone says, thank you for the warm welcome. Someone spoke to Grok, which is the Twitter AI. They said 50K to 67K, and Salty Girl replied with, we need to up those numbers. Someone says, I'd rather we sent 1 million white Americans to South Africa and assisted in them taking back their country, I would go. So you want to take white Americans out of here and send them there to quote unquote do the same thing that allegedly is happening to the white South Africans there, which is why allegedly they're coming here. Does that make any type of sense? One person says, we are coming, already completed our application. Oh, look at this. Can we trade our blacks for the Australian whites next? Someone said we should evacuate all of them and give them all the Chinese farmland after we confiscate it. They speak real confident behind this keyboard. Someone else says, I'm hoping for 5 million. Someone else said, we will take all of them. We can have an exchange. We'll trade all of Africa's whites and they can take all of our blacks. They said, and don't stop there. Let all Europeans whose countries are being overrun with Islamic, dirty North Africans and Middle Eastern scum, let those white Europeans come here as well, so on and so forth. So you pretty much get the gist of it. They have no idea. They have no clue what's about to happen. But they only want them over here because they're white. Again, these are the same people that say they don't see color, stop making everything about race, we're against illegal immigration. Yet, when you look and read this, you couldn't tell that they weren't against everything that I just said. So let's go to this post right here. And this is coming from someone named Lord Bebo. They have the American and South African flag, and it says the white South African immigrants all come with American flags and smiles and gratitude. That's what people want to see from immigrants. So because you saw a picture of a bunch of white people from another land carrying and waving a flag and smiling, that somehow means that they're good for the establishment. That's all it took. Y'all, what have I told y'all about that bar being set and how low it is set? Someone says because they are fake refugees who have more assets than your average American cosplaying as victims. Someone says effing grifters, they'll do anything for free welfare. Someone says, could it be because they know 100% they are welcome and would be let in? People trying to sneak in because they aren't let in will not hold flags and cookies. Someone says, those people are going to love, and they put love in all caps. Someone else says, and they all speak fluent English. Someone says, so they didn't own land from South Africa. It says, so weird to see asylum seekers include women and children. In Europe, it's basically just young men. Someone else says, I hope they breed. Their pure genetics need propagation. There it is right there. Look at that. This person said, I hope they breed. Their pure genetics need propagation. And what have we have been saying about their low birth rates here? They need the numbers. That's why they'll turn a blind eye to anything that they do or whoever they are, because they need the numbers. Andre, what's going on? Shout out to you for the 2. He said, what do you do, Torian? I appreciate it. What's going on? Someone else said they know how to behave. Someone says, yes, people want others to be grateful and happy when coming to their country. They said, exactly, thankfully for not being unalived. Someone says this is a foreign invasion. Deport every one of these tax-eating leeches. They were too weak, cowardly, and unpatriotic to stay and fight to the death for their homeland. They had no loyalty to their home country. Makes you think they're going to be loyal to the U.S. Don't be blinded by race. And it goes on and on and on. So I wanted to share those tweets with y'all so y'all can get an idea of how they were acting and carrying on all over Twitter. But one thing I want to show y'all before I actually get into the clip with Trump meeting with the president of South Africa is this clip right here that was on Abby Phillips. And for once, I'm glad that Abby actually stood on her own 2 feet and basically shut Scott Jennings down when he tried to propel that lie that Trump was pushing. So I'm gonna go ahead and
I mean, Scott,
you're saying it's not true that some white farmers have been murdered?
No, it's not true that there is a genocide against white farmers.
Okay, whatever you call it, have white farmers been murdered?
Actually, how many
have violence been committed against white farmers?
How many white farmers? Hold on a second. How many white farmers have been murdered in South Africa?
Several. I mean, they asked.
No. How many?
I don't know. Several.
I know why you don't know, because those numbers don't exist broken down by race.
I mean, I know this. I wouldn't trust the South African government to tell me. I know that.
How many black farmers have been murdered in South Africa?
Look, you guys are so triggered over 59 people.
No, I'm not.
After we left 20 million people in the country, I don't know why you're so triggered.
Haven't even brought up the white people that Trump picked out because they were white and told them they could come to the country.
How much racial killing are you going to condone?
There are 19,000.
It's funny how Scott is just sitting there trying to act like, or try to be so deflective of it, when he's saying this and he knows that the person who propelled this lie is his own president. And he literally said it right there in the clip. And they're white. That he let it be known right there. And you saw who was allowed to come over. It was only white people.
Murders in South Africa. 36 were on farms. 7 of the farmers were victims. Okay, this is according to the South African police.
And you think the South African government is a credible source?
The other 29.
She pulled up the stats that's coming directly from the South African government. And Scott going to sit up there and say, do you think they're going to be honest about their numbers? Scott, you need to be asking your president, was he honest about saying that they were being genocided over there? He didn't question that. Now, that's coming directly from the South African government. That's from their people. That's not something that was pulled from an American network and they just put out a number. It's funny because, over here, when it comes to black people, especially us, they like to say that we make up 12% of the population, but commit 50% of the crime. They love to say that all the time.
Hold on a second. The 29 victims who were included in the farm killings were farm employees who tend to be black. So the vast majority of people.
And she pulled up stats and Scott didn't pull up nothing.
Killed on farms in South Africa are black. Where is the concern about them?
The concern is that there are white farmers who have had violence committed against them, and they're being threatened. They're being threatened every single day. There's 59 people,
hold on a second.
And you're triggered about 59 people.
Scott, to me, it sounds to me like you're the one that's triggered because she was asking you a specific question, and you keep going back to these 59 people, and you're not showing any stats. Again, he's going off of what Trump said, and he's not pulling not once. And that's the thing. They all go off of what he says, and they never question any of it. None of it. This guy could look up in the sky and say, the sky's not blue today, it's green. And they'd be like, yeah, you know what? Trump is right. MAGA.
And I don't know why. I haven't mentioned anything about 59 people. Why are you only concerned about white people?
I'm only concerned about this story because these 59 people asked for status. They're getting status, and now
he deflecting. She's just asking, why are you only concerned about white people when they're not the ones that's being heavily affected by what's allegedly going on over there? And he can't even answer it. You can't tell me Scott Jennings doesn't let the N-word fly when he's at home. So that's pretty much the end. That's that video right there. So, but shout out to Abby for checking him on that. She had that man like stumbling. But now what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and get into the video where Trump and the president of South Africa, I guess you could say, got into it. And how many people in the chat have seen this video? I'm gonna speed it up a little bit for the sake of time. You about to see it, Cosmo? I saw a little bit of it. I didn't see the whole thing, but I did see bits and pieces of it.
What would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president.
Let me rewind it just a little bit more so I can catch the question that the reporter asked.
Mr. President, what would it take for you to be convinced that there's no white genocide in South Africa?
Well, I can answer that for the president.
So basically, the reporter asked Trump, "What would it take for you to?" Let me catch that one more time.
White genocide in South Africa.
Something about genocide in South Africa, and Trump looked like he was about to lie, and then that's when the president of South Africa interjected because he probably knew Trump was about to say some BS.
Well, I can answer that for the president. It's for him. No, seriously, have him answer. I'm not answer that.
Our president will respond to you. Thank you, Mr. President.
It will take President Trump listening to the voices of South Africans, some of whom are his good friends, like those who are here. When we have talks between us around the quiet table, it will take President Trump to listen to them. I'm not going to be repeating what I've been saying. I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it will take him, President Trump, listening to their stories, to their perspective. That is the answer to your question.
But Mr. President, I must say that we have we have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that. I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down, and just put this on. It's right behind you, Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do.
See, the president is laughing because he knows he's full of crap.
Well, without you, people are going to occupy land. We require no permission from you, from the president, from no one. We don't care. We can do whatever you want to do. Who are you to tell us whether we can occupy land or not? We are going to occupy land. South Africa occupy land. That's who we are. Never be scared to kill. A revolution demands that at some point there must be killing, because the killing is part of a revolutionary act. Shoot, kill, Ramaphosa. Kill the poor, the farmer. Kill the poor, the farmer. Pa, 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 pa. The man of D-Day is D-E, is a white man. So these people, when you want to hit them hard, go after a white man. They feel a terrible pain because you touched a white man. Not because Pashava and so will not be touched. They will be touched. Come on. But we are starting with this whiteness. We are cutting the clothes of whiteness. Shoot to kill. Never stop. Kill the brewer. The farmer. Kill the brewer. The farmer. Shoot to kill. Come on, sir. Kill the brewer. The farmer. Kill the brewer. The farmer.
You know what's so crazy? Even though we can't see the video they're playing, I know exactly what video is playing because I've seen that video be pushed so many times by them dub S's all over Twitter. It's to use as a reason as to why they were allowed, why they gave the reasoning as to why those 59 individuals was allowed to come over here and why they're trying to push for more of them to come over here. And trust me when I tell you, they took that video completely out of context, but it is of no surprise. Shout out to Wallow J for being a member for 14 months. He said, Trump hold this L. Oh, he's going to be holding plenty of L's. Not just from this, though. Neelix Sulu said, what is it that they're showing? That's Julius Malema. It's a video, and the thing is, you've probably seen it, or maybe you haven't seen it, but I've seen that video. I know exactly what video it is.
I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I'm saying to you, what's not about the killing of white people, at least for now. I can't see the future. And you understand something watching that, especially
now, for a little bit more context, and I didn't give an opportunity to say this, in case people don't know, the president of South Africa actually was connected to Nelson Mandela. I forgot what position he had. He worked close with him during the apartheid era. So you can't tell me that he didn't get some tips to use at his discretion from Nelson Mandela. So he worked very close with him during apartheid. Just wanted to give y'all a little insight. Exactly, Neelix, and I hope I'm pronouncing your name correctly. Forgive me if I'm not. Correct me if I'm wrong. Those videos that they keep pulling up are old videos. They're not new. They make it seem like some of these videos were just made like last week or maybe earlier in the year or something like that. You said a lot of the videos that they're showing him are like 6 years or older. Let me say this. If there was a so-called genocide going on over there and you felt like this was a threat, what he was doing in that video or what was going on in that video, why didn't you advocate for it then?
Who will expropriate land without compensation, whether they like it or not. If they object, they can seek refugee in America.
Now this is very bad. These are burial sites right here. Burial sites. Over 1,000 of white farmers, and those cars are lined up to pay love on a Sunday morning. Each one of those white things you see is a cross, and there's approximately 1,000 of them. They're all white farmers, the family of white farmers. And those cars aren't driving, they're stopped there to pay respects to their family member who was killed. And it's a terrible sight. I've never seen anything like it. Both sides of the road, you have crosses. Those people are all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President?
I want y'all to hear this part. This part right here was hilarious. Let me rewind it a little bit.
Those people are all killed.
Have they told you where that is, Mr. President? No, I'd like to know where that is because this I've never seen.
Now, listen, you heard what he just said. He asked Trump, he said, have they told you where this is, where this place is that all of these individuals was buried at? And Trump said, no, I don't know. Then why are you going to put something out there that you have no knowledge of, but you just put it out there and said, oh, this is where this is. That's what happened there. The people are here. And he asked you, where's this at? And he said, because I don't know. He said, I've never seen it. And he's the president. So he would know the landscape of he would know the geographical surroundings of the land. And he says, I don't even know where this is at. So that, for all we know, that may not even be in South Africa.
Okay. I mean, it's in South Africa this week.
We need to find out. I don't know.
Okay.
Mr. President, the Pentagon announced it would be accepting a Qatari jet to be used as Air Force One.
What are you talking about? What are you talking about? You know, you gotta get out of here. What does this have to do with the Qatari jet? They're giving the United States Air Force a jet, okay? And it's a great thing. We're talking about a lot of other things. It's NBC trying to get off the subject of what you just saw. You are a real, you're a terrible reporter. Number one, you don't have what it takes to be a reporter. You're not smart enough. But for you to go into a subject about a jet that was given to the United States Air Force, which is a very nice thing. They also gave $5.1 trillion worth of investment in addition to the jet. Go back, you ought to go back to your studio at NBC because Brian Roberts and the people that run that place, they ought to be investigated. They are so terrible the way you run that network, and you're a disgrace. No more questions from you. Go ahead.
Well, sheesh. See what happens when you get so riled up? Going back to the description, people. This is your president.
Go ahead, talk about that. His name is Peter something. He's a terrible reporter. Quiet. Let's go.
Thank you so much. President Trump, and it's last from ENCA in South Africa. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
What would you like President Ramaphosa to do about the situation that we've just seen on the screen?
I don't know. Look, these are articles over the last few days.
Now, she just asked him, what would you like the president who is of South Africa, who was sitting right next to him? You showed him these videos. You're bringing up these articles, which I don't even trust those. And she asked you, what would you like the president, again, who was sitting in the same room as you? What would you like him to do? And you say, I don't know. What? I feel like I am in the twilight zone right now. I feel like I'm in a spin cycle during laundry.
Death of people. Death. Horrible death. Death. I don't know. To pick anyone. White South Africans are fleeing because of the violence and racist laws. And this is all, I mean, I'll give these to you. So when you say, what would I like to do? I don't know what to do. Look at this. White South African couple say that they were attacked violently. And,
President Trump, why don't you go and see for yourself if it is?
well, I could do that. Look, here's burial sites all over the place. These are all white farmers that are being buried. And he asks about a jet that was given. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. You know, you are so bad. You're such a bad reporter.
I need someone to get them those articles and say where those are from. Now, I see some of y'all in the chat are saying where they're from, but to utterly embarrass you on the world stage, and even more embarrassed than you already are. That's what I'd like to say, like, oh, this came from this place.
This is one after another. This family was wiped out. I'm just looking.
Can we get a report from President Ramaphosa's reaction to those videos?
President Trump,
Well, I think the videos are so. No. When you look at the videos, I mean, how does it get worse? And these are people that are officials, and they're saying that kill the white farmer and take their land. That's what. And I have other friends in South Africa. I have people that left, one in particular that says you can't go there. He said they want to take your land, and they kill you. It's okay, and they say it's okay to do. Now, we're going to talk about it, but this is a tremendous look. This is story recent. These are all people that recently got killed.
Yeah.
And I don't know how it can get any worse. These are, and you know, the men that you saw, the people that you saw in that movie, those are officials. Those are people that were in office. They had one march, they had a dance in your parliament, whatever you may call it, legislature.
Let me clarify that.
Yeah.
Let me clarify that, because what you saw, the speeches that were being made, one, that is not government policy. We have a multi-party democracy in South Africa that allows people to express themselves, political parties to adhere to various policies, and in many cases,
of course not, D-Money, all because all he heard was the word kill.
So in some cases, those policies do not go along with government policy. Our government policy is completely against what he was saying, even in the parliament. And they're a small minority party, which is allowed to exist in terms of our constitution.
But you do allow them to take land.
No.
You do allow them to take land.
Nobody can.
And then when they take the land, they kill the white farmer.
It's funny Trump mentioned that, because it's like, Trump, do you even know what was going on for apartheid? Something that was going on since the 40s, and then it ended in 1994. Because everything that he's saying that's going on that the black South Africans are allegedly doing to the white South Africans, you need to flip that. He needs to utterly flip that.
And when they kill the white farmer, nothing happens to them.
No,
nothing happens.
There is criminality in our country.
Hey, listen, like I said earlier, the people that claim that stop making race everything about race so they don't see race, don't fall for that crap. They do see it when it benefits them, of course.
People who do get killed, unfortunately, through criminal activity, are not only white people. Majority of them are black people. And we have now
the farmers are black. The farmers are not black. I don't say that's good or bad, but the farmers are not black. And the people that are being killed in large numbers, and you saw all those grave sites, and those are people that loved ones going, I guess on a Sunday morning, they told me, to pay respect.
Who was they? Who told you? That's what I like to know. Who is they? And Dezimus, I'm going to drop the link after this video is done.
To their loved ones that were killed. Their heads chopped off. They died violently. And, you know, I mean, we're here to talk about it, and I didn't know we'd get involved here. But I will say this, that if the news wasn't fake like NBC, which is fake news, totally one of the worst, ABC, NBC, CBS are.
Because he ain't going to say Fox News is he ain't going to say Fox News is fake.
But if they weren't fake news like this jerk that we have here, if we had real reporters, they'd be covering it. But the fake news in this country doesn't talk about that. They don't want to talk about it, but now they have to talk about it. But they won't. This won't even be a subject. They'll have him talking about why did
and he's sitting up there upset because these news outlets don't want to spread the propaganda that he's spewing, and that's why he's calling them fake news. But if they do, then it's all right with him.
Country give a free think of this. Why did a country give an airplane to the United States Air Force? Okay, the United States, not to me, to the United States Air Force, so they can help us out, because we need an Air Force One until that's Air.
And see, and let me also and Millman, your comment actually made me think of this. See, what's pissing Trump off about this is that he can't get over on this guy like he did Zelensky. See, he basically bullied Zelensky out of the room, out of the Oval Office, but he's not getting over on him. He probably thinks he is, because Trump loves to have these debacles, like these back and forths. And if someone's not pushing back against him, he feels like he's winning. That's actually very childish. But when you're calculated and you sit there and you let everything register and you think and come up with a logical response, that's how you get your person. That's how you win in the war room.
Air Force One is being built, 2 of them being built. But Boeing's a little bit late, unfortunately. So why did they give us a plane to the United States Air Force? That's what that idiot talks about after viewing a thing where thousands of people are dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I would.
He's sorry. He said, I gotta run that one back. He said, I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you. That was a little subtle dig right there.
Dead.
I'm sorry, I don't have a plane to give you.
I wish you did. I would take it. If your country offered the United States Air Force a plane, I would take it.
Okay.
We know.
Coming back to this issue, which I really would like us to talk about, and talk about it very calmly. We were taught by Nelson Mandela that whenever there are problems, people need to sit down around a table and talk about it.
Well, there are
and this is precisely what we would also like to talk about, including, of course, trade matters, investment matters. So the issues that concern you as the United States,
those are all deaths.
Yeah, in many ways.
I would burn that page. I would burn all them articles because I bet you none of them are real.
I mean, one should say you are a partner of South Africa, and you are raising concerns. And these are concerns that we are willing to talk to you about. Let me just add quickly, the criminality that we are experiencing in our country needs quite a lot of technological capability. And in one of our areas in South Africa, we're using US technology, which is able to, in many ways, identify where shootings are happening and all that. And I'd like to talk about that because there is support.
D-Money, after what he said about South Africa, I doubt he's taking that trip. He would be met with so much animosity if he was to go to South Africa himself. If we're talking about just South Africa, he's not going there. Like, he's already left a bad taste in their mouth. You already know that they've heard about what he has said. So there you go.
That we can get from you as the United States to help us deal with all these acts of criminality. And that is what I believe partnership is all about. And we are here as a partner so that we can help each other whenever there are challenges. So I'd like us to discuss it, and of course outside of the media, so that we sit down and have a really good discussion that will lead to good outcomes.
Are there any other punitive measures that could be in place should you not be satisfied that South Africa is fixing some of the very bad things in the comments that you tweeted are happening?
Well, there are a lot of bad things happening in many countries, but this in particular has been very, very bad, very bad. And because of we're going to have the whole world watching in another short period of time because you have the G20, and that's a big deal. And it seems like, I want you to look good. I don't want you to look bad.
Very good.
But we have hundreds of people, thousands of people trying to come into our country because they feel they're going to be killed and their land is going to be confiscated. And you do have laws that were passed that gives you the right to confiscate land for no payment. You can take away land for no payment.
I want to clarify that because we have a constitution. Our constitution guarantees and protects the sanctity of tenure of land ownership. And that constitution protects all South Africans with regard to land ownership. However, we do say, because we've got to deal with the past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing it.
And we've never really...
You heard what he just said, right? Let me rewind that. Let me rewind that part. This is why I said you got to really pay attention because he literally contradicted himself. How Trump going to sit there and get upset and say that land can be confiscated over there because of non-payment, which technically means you're not abiding by the laws of making sure your upkeep is there so they can take it. But then when he mentions it, that's happening here, and he says, and we'll do that. What?
The past, the government, and as your government also has the right to expropriate land for public use.
And you're doing that.
And they're doing it. So why did you get upset? Then why did you get upset when they are doing the same thing? This man needs to go take his Ovaltine shot and take a nap or something.
We've never really gotten underway with that, and we are going to be doing so.
You're taking people's land away.
We have not.
From them. And those people, in many cases, are being executed. They're being executed.
He's going to stay on that. He's going to stay on that lie. There's no. At this point, he's staying on that lie, and he has to run with it, like until he can't run anymore. He's not going to change his stance on it. He's already put it out there. He can't backtrack from it unless something happens and his hand is forced and he does change it. But as of right now, because it's fresh and it's in the news and it's something to talk about, he's going to continue to push this allegation.
And they happen to be white, and most of them happen to be farmers. Mm-hmm. And that's a tough situation. I don't know how you explain that. How do you explain that? They're taking people's land away, And in many cases, those people are being executed. And in many cases, it's not the government that's doing it. It's people that kill them and then take their land and nothing happens to them. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country. They're also going to Australia in a smaller number. But we have thousands of people that want to come into our country, and they're white farmers, and they feel that they're going to die in South Africa, and it's a bad thing. Yeah.
What can South Africa do? What concessions would you like to see them make to improve relations with the United States? Then I have one more for President Ramaphosa afterwards.
Well, we just spoke about it. I got them a very, very complex machine, 150 of them. And I was asked by the president if it could help, and I did that. And I have great feeling for all countries. I deal with all countries. But I have a great feeling for South Africa because I have friends. I have a few friends here today. I have many friends from South Africa, but many of those friends are not.
We know who the main one is.
You can't go back. I have Elon is from South Africa.
Oh, there it is. I spoke too soon. There it is.
I don't want to get Elon involved. That's all.
Oh, please. He's probably the one that put him up to it. Talking about he don't want to get Elon involved. Elon is probably the one that planted the seed and told him to put that out there.
I have to do get him into another thing, but Elon happens to be from South Africa. This is what Elon wanted. He actually came here on a different subject, sending rockets to Mars. Okay, he likes that better. He likes that subject better. But Elon is from South Africa, and I don't want to talk to him about that. I don't want to. I don't think it's fair to him.
That's right.
But I will say that people are fleeing South Africa for their own safety. Their land is being confiscated, and in many cases, they're being killed. And that scene of, you see how many crosses they have. Those crosses, that's a dead person in every one of them. And those trucks or cars are paying their respects to all of those dead people on a Sunday morning. That's a rough thing to explain away. And the problem we have, and the way, a correct and a fair media exposes things. But we have a very corrupt media. They won't even report this. If this were the other way around, it would be the biggest story. Now, I will say apartheid, terrible. That was the biggest story. That was reported all the time. This is sort of the opposite of apartheid. What's happening now is never reported. Nobody knows about it.
So there it is. So you see what he just did. And this is very typical of the white supremacists when it comes to them trying to compete in the oppression Olympics. So he just mentioned right there, and I'm going to probably end it right here because there's only like 20 seconds left. He mentioned apartheid, and listen to how dismissive he was of it. How apartheid, he said, was so bad and everything like that. But he says, but this is the opposite of apartheid. And, if it was like that, then it would be talked about more. Again, competing in the oppression Olympics, that is the weirdest thing. And I find PC is the only group of people that do that across the board. So that's the end of that. I'm going to show one more thing, and then I'm going to drop the link because people was bringing up something called Acre Trader. And I actually found out about this on Lisa Cabrera's live that she did, I think, last week. Now, Acre Trader is basically, it's an investment, like an investment type of firm, I guess you can say, that deals with farms. But one of the most interesting things about Acre Trader is a person who was once attached to it. And that person is your current vice president, J.D. Vance. Let's see what they're talking about on here. J.D. Vance, while not currently a partner, was an investor in Acre Trader, a platform that facilitates investments in U.S. farmland. He invested up to $65,000 through Naria Capital, a venture fund that he co-founded. While Vance has since stepped down from Naria, there's no indication he has divested from Acre Trader. So to all of the PC farmers out there that are getting their farms seized, 9 times out of 10, it's through this Acre Trader, and 9 times out of 10 again, J.D. Vance was probably a part of it. And that actually got reported last year in September. So just wanted to bring that up. Now what I'm going to do is drop the link in the chat and let y'all come up and speak your piece. Again, if you haven't done so already, please be sure to go ahead and hit the like button. I would greatly appreciate it. All right, first up we got Wallow. What's going on?
What's up, Torrin? What's up, everybody? Chat. Sorry, I'm late. I was in the movies, but the reason why he brought up that jet that Trump got from the what was the people name? I forgot. But anyway, because of his attorney general has ties to that country, so that's why that reporter asked him that question. That's why he got all bent out of shape. But he's basically trying to justify bringing over white South Africans because we all know that the bird population is in decline. So he's trying to bring over the white South Africans to help out the white population. But like a lot of people have and I know a lot of y'all seen the videos that have popped up on social media. They aren't like a lot of like young people. They're a lot of elderly, old people, stuff like that. I mean, some young folks in there, but it's not a lot of them coming over because for one thing, they live good over there. Like, yeah, there's some shanty white towns over there, but for the most part, most of them live good over there. Why the hell would they come over here? It makes no sense for them to come over here when they own most of the farmland. Make it make sense. You gotta start thinking. He don't, which that's weird, something he don't do. We know he don't think so. He don't think, and he think everybody's supposed to believe him when you can go do research and clearly shows he's lying. And like, I'm glad he brought Elon up because Elon was in the room. He didn't want to show him on camera because he didn't want everybody to say, "Oh, it's Elon." No, we already know who it is. And that apartheid South African hoodlum out there trying to putting all this fake info out there, but it's gonna backfire because these South Africans, boy, I'm telling y'all right now. Fuck around and find out with us. We ain't no disrespect to the South Africans over there, but we ain't them. And I'll land there.
Appreciate you for coming up, Wallow. All right, next up we got Jonathan. What's going on?
How you doing, man? I'm gonna get right back in. I'm in the middle of something.
Okay, all right. I'll bring you back up, Jonathan, when you're ready. Denzimus, what's going on?
Hey, my guy, what's up?
We're going good.
Yeah, so this is why, no disrespect to Nelson Mandela. He, unfortunately, at the time, I don't think he realized too much the devils that he was dealing with. We have to understand this is why you can't give these people a foothold in certain things. Just like in the movie Sinners, you invite these parasites in and they start fucking shit up. These people have a mentality where, well, we know the white supremacists have a mentality where it's only crime, it's only murder or whatever, unless it's done to them. They can do whatever they want and there's no consequences, but when somebody else does the same thing, not saying that those South Africans did anything to them, but if they're so arrogant, they're so privileged that if you just even give them an inkling of something that's close to equality, they start acting like little ass babies. They had everything they could possibly want in South Africa. There's no reason for them to even come over here. As a matter of fact, I won't be surprised if a year from now they don't want to go back because Trump has a history of turning his back on people. So it's only a matter of time before that happens. Exactly. And then on top of that, oh my goodness, they go. Like Wallow J say, please don't think I hope they don't think they about to come over here and start no shit with us. That is going to be, if they want to see the rapture come back on this planet.
Notice that. Well, from what I've heard, they've been sending them to like a lot of Midwestern states. One that kept popping up was Iowa. So it's not a lot of black people out there. So as far as I'm concerned, I haven't heard any issues yet involving them and probably crossing paths with a black person yet. I say yet because they just got here. And it's only, as far as we know, the 59 that they sent over here. But it's going to increase from there.
Yeah. And I'm going to just say this, to my South Africans, y'all, I really wish there was a way that they could forcefully get them off the land because, like I said, Elon is in the back starting shit because I definitely think he's in the back because of that whole Tesla situation. He don't want to be in the public no more because his company can get messed up. But yeah, I just everywhere they go, everything they touch, they just poison, and just they can go to hell. That's all I have to say. B1.
B1. Appreciate you, Denzimas, for coming up. Someone said they heard Iowa, Idaho, and North Carolina. Okay. Well, I know two of those states are heavily majority PC. Now, North Carolina, depending on which part you're in, it's very diverse. All right, next up we got Xavier. What's going on?
Hey, brother Torian, B1.
B1.
I just wanted to shed some light on, because I heard you were asking about the origins of the article that Trump was showing off there. So I read an article from the Midas Touch guys. They actually dug into it, and they found out that it originated from this guy called Paul Hatting. I don't know how to pronounce his last name, but he's basically one of them dub-S scumbags, and he's been spreading this shit, like he's been spreading this whole white genocide thing for a very long time. And he's also a flat earth believer type thing, and he's into a whole lot of conspiracy theories. But a lot of times, even the meeting, the president, the South Africa president, the trip he made to America, he did a whole bunch of AI generated videos on that same site, like mocking the South African president. So basically, Trump was spreading conspiracy theories as usual, and I have a very strong feeling that a lot of this stuff is thanks to Elon. Elon was the one really crying about this.
My mind about that.
Elon has been crying about this for a long time, and and it's all lies. It's all lies. And when you think about it, they have a history of that. Like when I mean they, I mean the PC guys. Everywhere they go, once the tables are turned, once the black people have some semblance of freedom or equality, they start to feel threatened. It's the same way when Nelson Mandela became the president. I don't know if you ever watched any of Trevor Noah's stand-ups. He was talking about it, how the Boas were all really scared about what the black people are going to do to them. Oh my God, I'm so scared. I'm going to run out of South Africa. That's basically what we're seeing now. But it's again, someone pointed this out. If there are thousands of them suffering, quote unquote, then why is it only a handful that are coming over to, and the answer to that is follow the money. There's a lot of money somewhere, and this whole thing is probably going to. I think the article you just read about the company running this, I believe very strongly that there's money
Acre Trader.
Yeah, the Acre Trader thing. I have a very strong feeling that there's money involved, because Trump never does anything for free. That man never does anything for free. So there's
always a price tag, and
there's always a price. I mean, look at the Qatari government. They gave him a big old plane, a palace on wings or whatever.
That's why I was laughing when the South African president was saying when we don't have a plane to offer you. I was like, if you didn't know the backstory behind it, then you wouldn't have got
you wouldn't
have gotten the subtle dig that he gave him.
Exactly. So I feel, and last thing I'm gonna say about this, right? The BOA actually, at least according to other Europeans, they're actually they don't like them in the greater part of Europe. They don't want to even associate with these people. So Trump bringing them into America, this shit is gonna backfire so badly.
Exactly. That's why when I was reading, I don't know when you came in on the live, but when I was reading the tweets and people was talking about them, and someone has said, well, don't y'all find it kind of suspicious that the Germans and other people in Europe don't want them, but you let them in here, and those people are originally from there. So if they don't want to take back the people from their land of origin, that must be a reason. That's the red flag right there. It's a sign of reason why you should not let them in here. But you know what? Like I said, this is just like the movie Sinners. Remember in the movie Sinners when Remick, who was Irish, went to the white supremacist house who they were American, and they let
begging them,
begging them to let him in. Mind you, he's all charred up and everything. He's burning because of the sun, and they let him in. And it wasn't because he was Irish, it's because he was white.
White, exactly. I was shouting at that scene. I was shouting, "Don't let him in, you idiot!"
That's why I say they will drop that whole tribalistic thing on the basis of race in a heartbeat. That's when I was reading those tweets. I said y'all do the tribalistic thing whenever you want to, whenever it benefits you, but you will also not do it when it benefits you too.
Exactly. Anyways, I really do hope they reap what they're sowing right now, and I hope it comes soon. It comes soon enough, and I'll land my plane there. Thanks for bringing me on.
No
and
problem.
Fuck these guys.
I appreciate you. Shout out to Xavier and Daryl. Yeah, they did not like Winnie. If they didn't like Nelson, they hated her. Don't believe me? Go look up Winnie Mandela. Winnie was one way before she got with Nelson and married him, had his kids. But after she got arrested and saw for what it was, and she got out, that woman went on a tirade. They hated that woman up until the day she died. I can imagine how many assassination attempts it was on her life. But okay, I think Jonathan said he's ready now, so let's get to it. Jonathan, what's going on?
What's up, Torian? I saw that and I was rather entertained. Of course, the orange, the orange monster always got some excuses and always summing stuff up. So I was just coming to bringing my 2 cents that to say, like, all these people, they need to stop using our people, even if they're like a different accent, different race. At the end of the day, they're still black, and they need to wake up and realize Trump is just trying to bring them here to, like, help them highly educate the whites so they can, like, take all the credit for their work and their help. So I just don't.
I said it's going to backfire because some of them over there if they're very tribalistic, they're not going to link up with them like they think they are. That's why I said in the thumbnail, meet your new replacements. I said y'all having fun with this now and them coming over now, but guess what? Once they really show you who they are, you stuck with them. And like I said, also stay over there with them. Don't come over here. Y'all stay over there and with them and let them see the error of their ways.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they're making them a big mistake. Like, Trump is setting them up for a trap. Like while OJ said, Trump is picking them to use them. You know what I'm saying? Using them to help his people get up there. And you know what I'm saying? It's a booby trap and an accident waiting to happen all at once. And as you can see, I got a little new gig, so I thought I'd let you know about that.
Congratulations.
But thank you. I just continue to do what you're doing, man. I'm finna finish the rest of my work. Be one.
Right, appreciate you coming. Be one. Shout out to Jonathan for coming up, and also congratulations to him on the new gig. All right, next up we got AW1. What's going on?
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Let me turn my TV. Just give me 1 sec. Sorry, my TV's a little loud. Okay, sorry. All right, here we go. Yeah, first off, I mean, man, the hypocrisy is real with Trump. He's talking about holding people accountable. Oh, it's not about race. Then he mentions, well, the white ones are being attacked. But he says it's not about race. He contradicts himself right away.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I call these people, though, Torian?
What's that?
Associate. Damn, you know what? I got to look it up. I'll tell you next stream. But I mean, like that Lily girl and other people that are trying to claim victimhood, and Trump, all these people in Myra or Anwan Fudo, whatever that fool's name is, they're just attention seeking. All they do is fall back, and then when they say the N word, and then they play victim. Oh my God! See, they're censoring me. It's a bracket now.
Yeah,
It's
like for instance, and I'm gonna do it, and I have actually have a video coming up very soon about this. Did you hear about what happened in Holly Springs, Mississippi?
No, I didn't, sir.
There was an incident down there in Holly Springs, Mississippi. Mind you, I never heard of a Holly Springs until I saw this story, where it was this white guy that went to a club that was majority black people there, and he decided he was going to build up the courage to step from behind his computer screen and start stepping in front of real people instead of N-word. That was a bad mistake because they did almost like a gang initiation jumping beat down thing on this dude, so much in fact that by the time it was over, this guy had no clothes on. Like they stripped him of his clothes and beat him, and then poured beer and liquor on him as well. Then the reason why I'm bringing that up is because when they were reporting the story, they kept referring to the guy as a victim. But he was the one.
Even though he went there just to cause trouble.
Even though he went there and initiated the whole thing,
right?
And they still refer to him as a victim. Now, what's crazy is I looked up the demographics for that area. Holly Springs is majority black. Holly Springs is like 70, almost 71% black, and white people make up only like 25%, and everybody else is like under 10%.
But like I said, I'm sorry. Go ahead, man.
So I'm sitting there saying to myself, what were you thinking going to out there was majority black people at a club or a bar where it was majority black people there, and it was at night. It was at night.
He went there to get paid. He went there to get paid. That's what it is, to be a victim and then collect after what that Hendrix yak did to that child. And she became a millionaire practically. And that's what he's trying to do.
Yeah.
I think that's what they're all trying to do. I think it's a racket now. Ooh, people pay me to be a racist. Not, I mean, to be bold, to be open, be an open racist. I can get paid now.
Yeah.
That's what it is.
Yeah, and also going back to what I was saying about with the fight, I said I know that guy had to be stinging because they beat him down. So I know he had open cuts on him. So when they poured that liquor and beer on him, I know that alcohol stinged.
But yeah, that's his fault though. I don't feel sorry for him.
It is. I don't feel bad for him either.
But all right, man, I'll drop down. You keep, and by the way, good job of doing video on D Dump and the salesman JD Vance. That's what I call him. I call him the salesman.
I appreciate it.
That's exactly you should call. You can use that, Torian.
All right.
All right, but B1, man.
B1. All right. Shout out to AW1 for coming up. But yeah, I do have a video coming up soon about that incident down there in Holly Springs. When I saw that, I said, "Oh yeah, that's content worthy." Most definitely. But anyway, y'all, that is going to bring this stream to a close. Shout out to everybody that came up. The next time I will be going live will be on Sunday because that'll be True Crime Sunday. Again, like I said, I had to do back-to-back ones because it messed the schedule up with Rumble a couple weeks ago, but we'll be back on track after this one. But also, let me give y'all a heads up. Between today and tomorrow, which is Saturday and Sunday, you will be getting 4 videos, 10 and 6 on both days, and all 4 of those videos are going to be triple P. So for the next 2 days, the videos that I upload are all going to be triple Ps, and all of the triple P videos are going to be from events that happened this week. One of them you already know for certain is what I'm going to be talking about. I don't even have to ask you to guess. But the other 3 you may not be aware of, but one for certain. So be prepared for that. Also tomorrow, you're going to find out what the True Crime Sunday topic is going to be. That's going to be on Rumble. Shout out to Andre for the $2 super chat. Shout out to Wallow for being a member for 14 months on the channel. Shout out to everybody in the chat, all the members, everybody on Patreon, all the mods, everybody on the replay gang. I appreciate each and every one of you. You will be back on here tomorrow with those 2 videos, and then on Sunday, True Crime Sunday, and we will go from there. With that being said, y'all enjoy the rest of your evening. Be safe, and most importantly, be well.